Hello everybody, I am Jeffrey Hauser, author of the Learn With series, a bunch of books about Angular interacting with different backends. This is my first React screencast, and I expect that someday it may turn into a book, it may not. I'm not making any promises, but React is probably the biggest UI framework out there for building single-page applications, and I want to know more about it. So this is not going to be everything about React. What I'm going to go over in this series of videos, and I have 5 of them planned, I'm going to look at the React Tic Tac Toe tutorial, and there's a few extensions they suggest adding on your own. I'm going to go over those extensions and how I tackle them. First, let's take a look at this tic-tac-toe application. The user can click, it switches back and forth, and somebody wins. And we keep this running history of buttons. We can jump to any point in the game. Once we get to the end, we can no longer do a selection. Go to the game start to restart. And it just works. And I'm not going to show you the code or how to build it because that's all in the tutorial right up on the React website. What I'm going to review and tackle are these 5 little bonus suggestions at the end.
This episode, we're going to look at item 3, add a toggle that lets you sort moves in either ascending or descending order. Basically, this game list, we're going to add a button to reverse it. So the current move goes to the top or to the bottom and everything else filters behind. That's the goal of this episode. When I was first implementing this, I tried 2 approaches. The first was to completely reverse the history array, and for some reason that wasn't working. I couldn't figure out. So what I ended up doing when we loop over the map is swapping the index. When we loop over the map to create this, swapping the index. So if we're looking at the first item, we actually display the last, etc., etc. If you're looking at the second item, in this you would display 8. And that's the approach we're going to explore today. I've found the game board inside my app. What I'm going to do is add a button. On click. We don't have a method yet, but on reverse move display request. Reverse move display. We are going to want to create this function, and here should work. Now, what I want to do is I want to create a new state for this. Let's collapse moves for the moment, or hook as they're called in Angular. So I'm going to call this forward direction. And this will be true. So the only thing this method does is reverse the forward direction. Let's do an on reverse move display request. Let's make sure this button is working. No errors at the console. Let's do, we can see at the console. So every time I click, so it's definitely calling. And we can see this incrementing every time I click the button. So that's positive. It's not doing anything else yet, but that's fine. Before we jump into reversing the history array, I want to actually change the history array. Currently have it's just an array of 9 items. We're going to want to store the move number. as part of this. So we're going to change it into an object. So we're going to add a move number, default to 0, and squares. And actually, this needs to be an array too. Yeah, so that do it. And now every time we access this history, so for example here, we want to make sure we're doing squares. We're going to want to do something in handle play because next squares is just the array, not the full object. So we're going to create a next move object, which is going to have move number, current move plus 1, and squares next squares. And it's this next move that we want to add onto the array here. And I made a change here. This was not intended to be changed. I'm not even sure if I did that on camera or if I cut that out because I kept running into bugs. So what we're going to do, set current move should still be next history length just 1. So it should always be the last element of the history array, should always be the next move. I changed it to the current move, which was not what we want to do because the current move may not be the last element of the array once we start reversing things. So let's go back here. And yes, we can still play. And we can jump around. Okay, good to go. This reverse still does nothing. Back to the moves array. First thing I want to do, I'm going to change these variables. I'm going to change this just to square because it basically represents, well, one set of moves. Let's do it to current move. And then we're going to do, this is history index, and we're going to add a copy of the history array here. So we're going to do let square to display equals square, actually equals current move. And current move is a horrible variable. Let's do current move set because we have a global current move. And then we're going to do if forward to direction. We want it, forward, I don't know. So we're going to get the reversed index, which is the history array length minus history index minus 1. So basically, if we're looking at element 0, we're looking at the last element in the array. If we're looking at element, assuming a 8-thing array, 8-index array, if we're looking at element 1, we're looking at element 7 in the array, etc., etc., etc. So this formula basically just reverses everything. And then we're going to do square to display equals history array reversed index. So that means in our display, we're looking at this thing. So and then const move equals square to display dot move number. Let's move description up to the top here. So this should give us what we need. I don't think we need any additional changes to this method. So let's see. No errors on my console. I'm going to go start again. If I reverse, they reverse. Let's get a few more. Reversing, I can still click through. Hey, I think we did it. So we can reverse at any point, and it seems to be working. It's awesome. And what? Oh, actually, jump to. Actually, it does seem to be working, which surprises me. Let's look at jump to. So in jump to, how is that called? Moves. Oh, yeah, that does work. So we don't need to change jump to at all, I think. I thought we may have to. But if we're already grabbing the move number out of the square, we probably don't need to change this at all. Sweet. I think we're set. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out my books, the Learn With series. The next episode in this is going to tackle how to highlight the winning squares, or say draw if somebody does not win.